Speeches. Stuart McMillan.
Thank you very much, Presiding Officer. Presiding Officer, I actually welcome the Tories bringing this debate forward today. And at the outset, I want to state that I would like more money to go to Police Scotland, the Scottish Fire and Rescue Service, local government, and every aspect of the public sector in our country. But the farce of the long-delayed UK budget, making it harder for the Scottish Government to actually deliver its budget, is there for all to see, and also highlights the farce that are the current constitutional arrangements this Parliament actually endures. Well, welcome the extra £60 million to be invested in Police Scotland. Well done to both the Scottish Government and also to the Scottish Green Party for securing a deal to get this budget passed. So despite the decade of Tory austerity, this Scottish Government has increased the police budget. And I do believe, however, that Police Scotland has been underfunded. It's been underfunded to the tune of £125 million of VAT monies kept in the bank account of the Tory UK Government. Now, we've heard from quite a few Tory MSPs today regarding the issue of Barnett consequentials. The Barnett consequentials, that actually determines, well, that's then going to be the UK Government's policies determining what's actually going to happen in this Parliament. Then surely it's up to the Government of this Parliament to determine how they actually want to spend and invest the monies that they have. So the Tories in the Chamber, and to the small band of their members across the country, the issue of VAT is our money. It's our tax and we want it back. The Tories want more money to be invested in this budget, but they clearly can't count 1.5 billion of extra demands and tax cuts for the wealthiest. Doesn't equate to the extra 1.1 billion of additional resource the Scottish Government actually have. Now, they really need... Sure.
Murdo Fraser.
I'm talking about money that's due back. Would you reflect on the more than £10 billion fiscal transfer paid by the rest of the United Kingdom to Scotland? Would you like to give that money back?
Stuart McMillan.
Under the current constitutional arrangements, Mr Fraser, we sadly are part of the UK, and that money is actually our tax money as well. So today, the Tories have raised a number of issues. They've raised a number of issues, and also certainly some of the false accusations in the Mail on Sunday column, as has already been touched upon. But Mr Kerr needs to correct the record and realise that 30% of our police officers are female, including Chief Superintendent Debbie Riley, who heads up the Greenock Police Office. A second issue is that of the fake news about rising crime. From 2009-10 till 2018-19, crime in my area of Inverclyde has actually decreased by 37%. And it's also increased across Scotland as a whole by 42% over the last decade. Now, I know the Tories they've got a penchant for talking Inverclyde down, but when there is a positive story, it would actually be helpful if they recognised this success when it happens. The reduction in crime hasn't happened just because of the vast amount of work done by our police officers, but it's done by them working in partnership with Inverclyde Council, with other emergency services, the third sector and many, many others. I'm also sure that the Cashback for Communities scheme will actually have played a part in this, and certainly the feedback that I hear talking to organisations and individuals in my constituency is something that's hugely positive about that scheme, helping to engage with younger people and preventing them going into a cycle of crime. Now, there will always be challenges that need to be faced in every aspect of the public sector, and I'm sure that every single member of this chamber, that's a point that we can all agree on. But it's also important to highlight that policing in Scotland is actually performing well in comparison to England. Now, some members clearly don't want to hear issues of comparisons between Scotland and England, but certainly Gordon Lintos in his contribution earlier, he actually did a comparison. And also in one of the questions before this debate today, he asked a question comparing Scotland to England. Presiding Officer, one of my proudest moments in my life was actually attending my sister's passing out parade when she became a police officer to a force in England. Talking to my sister over the years about the events that she had been involved in, certainly both fascinating and also challenging in equal measure. The comparison with how some aspects of policing differed between her force and that in Scotland was interesting, but also highlighted how glad I was to actually live in Scotland. Now, my respect and support for our police officers grew immeasurably as a result of these discussions. it certainly is a fact that the higher number of police officers in Scotland is at any other time in comparison to, certainly even with the previous administration, and also when you consider that the recruitment into Police Scotland continues to be strong. There are significantly more officers in Scotland than before 2007. The total numbers of officers in Scotland, as at the 31st of December 2019, was some 17,259. This contrasts with the cuts of 20,000 officers in England and Wales over the last decade. And even if the forces in England and Wales replaced the officers that they have cut since 2007, it would still mean there would be around 24 officers per 10,000 population, still well below the rate in Scotland, which has 32 officers per 10,000. Presiding Officer, I'm conscious of time. Presiding Officer, I am pleased that a budget agreement has been agreed today. And once again, it proves that opposition parties who genuinely engage in budget discussions with the Scottish Government ensure they get results. Maybe the Better Together parties might want to consider that for next year. Thank you very much.